A Florida State University program in interdisciplinary computing production.
All right, very good. Today we're going to talk, what else we have on our website here? Today we're talking about Chapter 5, Site Structure. We finished up talking about information architecture, interface design. Now we talked a little about site structure, and we'll talk a little bit about page structure. I'd like to pull up a demo site to use for this particular project. The Art Institute of Chicago does a lot of things right with their website and provides us with a good example of site structure concepts that I can refer to as we go through this presentation. There's the school and the museum here. So they actually have two different areas of interest. They decided to divide them into two websites. And here's their major exhibit site, where they have a drop-down menu for collections, exhibitions, their calendar, all these are drop-downs. Families, different kind of family experiences at the museum, how to plan your visit, education, libraries, about us. They put their about us in their top bar, just like we did for our pizza place. Members, interact, and shop. You know, one question, I just, as soon as I see these drop downs, I always wonder about one thing. So you have a category called families, and you have 3 pages, right? 3 items. Plan a family visit, family exhibitions, and family events. Obviously, those are 3 pages. So would you also make the main button, the button families, be a link to a page as well? This is always a design question. Now, if you go to our website, you'll see here we have things too, assignments and lessons. Now, if I click lessons, nothing happens. I actually had to bypass some of the rules in this framework to make it so that if you click net lessons, nothing happens. Now, what I could have is if you click the lessons page, it could open a page that simply provides you with a list of lessons there. You know, an alternative way to get to those menu items. The Art Institute, let's see what happens when we click families. It takes us to a families page where they talk about the general category of families. Now, one thing that's good about this, that we'll find out, and I'll probably switch the way I do things based on this principle, is that menu systems like this aren't always accessible. So blind users might not know to hover over this to get this menu. They might just see or hear the primary categories that are listed in the menus. So for them, they don't even know there's something that just dropped down there and appeared. They just click families, and what do you know? When you get there, there's links to the pages that are under the menu. Now typically they're the exact same links. This breaks it down a little bit into more detailed links. But that's an alternative way of navigating. So when you provide drop-down menus, you'll find most professional sites also include a page that provides traditional links to the subcategories as well. And that's an accessibility issue. But I get ahead of myself. So let's take a look at our presentation here. Lots of interesting topics in this particular chapter. All right. Site structure. Well, we talked about information architecture, right? And actually we touched on a lot of site structure in that particular presentation because we mentioned that how you organize the contents of your site often is the way that files are organized on the server in folders, and it also dictates kind of your menu items, you know, how everything is organized into categories, your hierarchies. All right, so this is kind of looking at one area of that, and that is your site structure. So the author says that the methods you use to mark up pages determine whether they can be read by software and indexed well by search engines, the logic and stability of the underlying files and directories that your website rests on affect its functionality, as well as its potential for growth and expansion. So one thing we're going to talk about in this chapter is this idea of semantics. Semantics is using a language that's easy to understand to kind of label and categorize everything on your site. So we talk about a site file structure. Here's just a website that I created for a scout troop, I guess, is what this one is. And you can see there's an About folder, and there's also a Leadership folder, and then there's just some plain pages. Now, if you think about this hierarchy, first off, it's fairly well organized. There are things that fall under a category and other things that stand alone. You know, if you translate that to a tabbed menu or a menu across the top of a page, the ones that fall under a hierarchy would be drop-down menus, and the other ones would just be simply links that you click on, right? So if you have drop-down menus, not everything you have needs to be a drop-down. For instance, if we go back over and look at the Art Institute, we have Shop. Oh, all right, Shop does have one item in its drop-down menu. I guess all of their things have drop-downs. Home doesn't. So you click Home and go back to the home page. But you get the idea. Drop-downs are just when you need it. The goal of semantic organization for your site is to produce a consistent, logical system for classification of HTML and other files, directories, and your CSS. So a lot of this is about choosing names that you're going to stick with. That's actually, that can be difficult even when you're working by yourself. So back to the Art Institute, they decided to call, well, let's see, call this collections. They decided that there's a difference between collections and exhibitions. All right? Now they had to make sure that not only does the person that's organizing and managing the site understand the difference between these two words and what they represent, but everybody else working on this website also has to understand what these two words mean. And they can't use other things like groups instead of collections or something like that. So you come up with kind of your own language for your website of what you want to call things and make sure that it's consistent throughout. So as you're writing about the museum, you have to make sure that you use the words collections and exhibitions consistently with the organization of your site. So a lot of this is about words, language, and clarity. And not only is this important for your visitors to understand what's going on, but it's also extremely important for search engines, because the search engine starts to learn the vocabulary of your site and is able to put your page in the results list based on these words that you use for exhibitions and collections and whatever your site has to do with.
For more information about FSU's program in interdisciplinary computing, visit www.pic.fsu.edu.